counseling programs, our clothing programs, all evolved from that original foundation. Before the Black Panther Party, I did many things that by anyone's standards would be considered wrong. The Black Panther Party turned my life dramatically around. Sister Shirley. I bet a lot of the, can you imagine how a lot of the elders in the village would view the, who is this? I said, oh, that's Mama Charlotte. They say, who?
Yeah.
What's she doing with a gun?
Yeah, is she going hunting or what? Wow. Do you remember when we first came to Dar es Salaam, to Tanzania? And I remember when we walked out of that airport and how warm it was, and it was those coconut trees, you know. I said, Pete, I love this. This is like coming home. And it really was. And you had this puzzled expression on your face. I don't know what that meant.
Do you know when I got off the plane here, and this is the truth, Charlotte. Now, all kidding aside now, I didn't have a good feeling. I just didn't, sister. Yeah. And we've talked about this a lot, and I generally make light of it. But to me, it was just like I had gotten too far away from everything that I knew. And it amazes me how you didn't feel that way. Huh? I guess you were just as happy as a dead pig in the sunshine, huh? For me, I was saying, oh, boy. I saw the tin roofs with the rusted iron, and I said, uh-oh. I said, we're in for a different kind of life. Wait a minute. How much is it? Umelete kwa begani? Aya mama, tuma mtu kuchunga gari. We njoo lakini tunga mtu. Ngoji kwanza, tunaangalia kwanza. Mama andika. Nipe kuangalia. I spend most of my life shopping and buying supplies. We feed 20 to 30 people daily. We've got our programs, we have student groups coming through, we've got all these people visiting. We've got people on honeymoon, people just passing through. We are in constant motion.
I have a peaceful kind of floating in the clouds nature. That's just me, and it balances out the way Pete is, because he's more hyper and he sweats things more than I do. But he's very different from the way I remember him back in the day. I've watched him grow to be very tolerant of all kinds of people's opinions, where I think years ago, if you wasn't down with the program, you know, you couldn't hardly say anything to him. You know what I mean?
But even, we don't see any racial problems in Birmingham.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, Scott and I live there and we love it. We both live fairly Anglo lives in Alabama. I don't have that much interaction with inner city blacks or anything, but I don't feel threatened walking down the street, and there's no chip on my shoulder, and as far as I can tell, no chip on any of their shoulders.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you, how did you think blacks felt there? You're talking about where, Birmingham?
But now in Birmingham, not
no, of course
40
not.
years ago.
But I wanted to ask you, how do they feel? How would you?
See, I don't agree with their assessment. I still notice that throughout the African-American community, I still think there are a lot of young people who still sense some resentment and get choked by the anger and the resentment and can't break out of that and almost wallow at times in the anger and the resentment. And instead of taking that energy and moving forward, it serves as a hindrance to their moving forward.
There may be some truth in that. But can you imagine how difficult it is to forge ahead?
I don't know how.
No, you don't, sir. And when you have never had an opportunity educationally, when you...
But you don't know what it's like to be a white male in the South either. it ain't all bread and roses. I mean, it's
But whites weren't slaves for centuries.
but we don't live on the big rock candy mountain, and the money doesn't grow on trees, and it's not even easy for a white person either. I mean, it's hard, Pete.
It's not
I mean,
easy.
no,
It's not easy for whites.
No,
No, it's not. I agree with
Right,
you.
right.
It's not. But you certainly, in any kind of intellectual honesty, you can't compare that.
No,
with what blacks went. You're too intelligent a man.
I definitely agree with
To
that.
look at
I will
people,
definitely agree with
people
that.
that were treated like cows and chickens,
I
were
definitely,
denied bread, was
100%.
against the law to know how to read for centuries.
Now, what's the solution?
This is the first thing in all of these problems that we've talked about. I can give you the solution. Okay. The first thing is to admit, and that's hard. That's the hardest thing. That's the hardest part.
Sure.
And particularly for whites. Not a white man, never will be. But I can imagine this is the most difficult thing whites will ever have to do, is to admit categorically that we have had serious problems. We can't sugarcoat them. We can't cast blame on the victim. We have to say, hey, we screwed up. This was wrong. What can we do to make it right?
Sister. If you could have heard some of the stuff that came out of their mouth.
Right.
Part of the problem, or no, damn it, he said the problem, and I'm paraphrasing, was that young blacks have resentment in their heart. Well, what in the hell do you expect to have?
So many people have a lack of knowledge about the 60s and the 70s and the whole, and the civil rights era and all of that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they've been living in complete isolation.
And have no idea
Or
what's
even
going
about the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That's what blows my mind, too.
We'll find people that'll come in our presence now, and they'll talk about social issues and racial issues and things like this, but these are things they don't think about when they're not, and they think they have to do this in our presence.
And they mean well.
No, but that's the killer. This is the killer. This is the killer.
Yeah.
They think in their mind that they are being as progressive, and they're saying, look, it's really your fault. He said it's your fault, or you're a big part of the problem,
Yeah.
but he means well.
Yeah.
I don't like that, do you? I know that's a big part of what we talk about and what we try to do, but I don't like it, do you?
You mean
Truthfully.
dealing with those issues?
No, I'm talking about the whole cross-cultural thing when it brings that uncomfortable feeling. You know, I'm not going to do this, but I'd really just say, hey, take that shit out of here, you know?
Has there been any cooling off between you and the police in Kansas City?
None whatsoever. There can never be any cooling off between the Black Panther Party and the racist pigs, regardless of what level of pigs we're talking about, until all oppression has been ended, until we've seen them all sent to their graves.
When I look at that footage, I'm a little impressed with myself that I had the fortitude to say this and to say it on national TV.
Exploited and,
I have no qualms about what we were struggling for in the Black Panther Party. I think they were right.
that's ludicrous.
But when I see myself adopting a totally unreasonable stance, it almost says to me, I could have dealt with that better.
And Eldridge Cleaver made the statement that he would like to go into the Senate, to shoot his way into the Senate and take McClellan's head. Well, while Eldridge is doing that,